All right, welcome to the best damn NFL podcast, period. I'm Rodney Peete. He's the Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson, and our guest today is the man. He is the pride of Long Beach Poly. My man, DeSean Jackson. D-Jack, what's going on, man?
Man, I like that intro, man. Hopefully my name can be said shit Hall of Famer one day, man. Shit, I'm trying to reach the ED, man.
You know what I mean? That's hey, DeSean, that's 2105 right there. That's 2105.
Hey, bro, you don't want to be beat up like DeSean. I'm beat to hell.
Hey man, shit, you still look good. You still look like you can run that rock a little bit, man.
If they gave me that rock, I'd throw it at somebody.
ED, you're not running between the tackles.
Let all that attention go that way. I'm tired of 9-man fronts.
Yeah, speaking of 9-man fronts, man, they can't play any 9-man fronts with what you guys got going on at the Rams, brother. Talk about just, I want to get into, first of all, just the atmosphere this past Sunday. Obviously the hype of that game with Tampa Bay coming to town, then the stadium being filled and how loud it was, how electric it was. What was it like playing on Sunday in that kind of big stage at SoFi?
Man, honestly, man, it was like none before, man. I mean, you really don't kind of get the atmosphere from being in LA. Like, we're not really known, besides when ED was here, but for, Los Angeles to have a football team, me growing up, I didn't get to experience that. I was born in 86. So growing up, we didn't have no team here. So for me, it's huge to see, how much of a football town this could be, like every game so far we've had. And, last year they didn't have fans at the stadium, but this year, man, every game we have so far, man, the fans, they coming out, they showing out. And they really support, man. I love the atmosphere, man. This is a special atmosphere. And it's unique because, like I say, LA, it's not known for a culture of an NFL team like that. You get what I'm saying? As far as my era.
Yeah. So
for me, kind of coming back home and witnessing like this, man, like you can hear, I mean, I don't know if you heard Tom Brady, but he said, man, that noise was like one of the top he's ever been in stadium-wise. And it's just like that atmosphere, that fans coming up, they showing out, bro. And it's a good place to play, man. It feels good.
Sean, you're right, because when I think of, we talked about it yesterday, Rodney, not having a team here for so long,
right.
And then all of a sudden, how electrifying it was Sunday, for the Rams being here. Because, like I said, let's be always honest, since the Rams left and went to Orange County, the Raiders kind of took over LA.
Yeah.
When they went to St. Louis, they really took over LA. The Raiders took over LA. And now coming back, I mean, there's a lot of Rams fans here, a lot of them. And I think we're seeing that. And so I think for you as a player, how important is it for you to have a team here in LA? And you're from LA. That's the best part of all.
Yeah.
You're from LA. You're from LA. Like I said, Long Beach Poly, went to Cal. I mean, is it different? Like you played in Philly, you played in Washington, but is it that different playing back at home?
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing, and I want to go back to the preseason, because the preseason game we actually played, because you spoke on the Raiders, we actually had a preseason game versus the Raiders, and I felt like we was the away team, honestly. Like the Raiders came in there, I ain't see nothing but black and silver all through the stadium, man. So, I mean, I was like, man, I hope this don't get like this during the season, but, since the season, man, we've been having a great outtake as far as our Ram fans. And, for me, it's special, man, to be back home. Like you said, born and raised here and grew up inner city. Like, I'm really heart and soul at LA, man. Like everything about me is LA. So for me to be able to be in my 14th season and coming back home and still playing at a high level, man, I could just only imagine, I don't want to, think too far ahead, but if everything aligns, man, and we keep playing how we play, man, it's going to be a special year, man. But, with knowing that and knowing, the Super Bowl's here, I just feel like our team, we know what we're capable of doing, but we don't want to peak too soon. We want to just take it 1 week at a time. And I think, we got a lot of veteran players that's been, played through some great ball. And we all know if we look at every week, like we 0-0 and we coming in 1 week at a time, that we want to be 1-0 every week, I think the sky's the limits for this team.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of home, has it been tough, easy? ticket request? I mean, what's it been like? What's it been like coming back home? Because some people don't want to come back home and play. I don't know about you, ED. Did you ever want to go back to Texas?
I didn't want to. Man, are you kidding me? No, I didn't want to go down to Houston at all.
Yeah, man.
What's it been like, D?
Ticket requests. It was crazy because when I came back home, I just had the mentality where, I changed my number. I really locked in. I focused in. I'm born and raised here once again. So even, throughout my 13 years before I came back here, I always had the mindset where when it's time for football, like that's first, that's the number one priority. I'm not, not to say I ain't partying, but I'm older now. So it's like, I didn't got all that stuff on my system. So when I came back, I wanted people to know that I'm coming back home. I ain't coming back to be hanging out in the clubs and chilling and family calling me, come over. No, like I'm really locked in on, taking the best out of this opportunity because I know how special this opportunity can be, especially with McVay's success. What I've been able to see him accomplish his fifth year he's been here. So for me, man, I passed that over to my mom. I got one of my assistants kind of handed on my tickets. So I can really focus in because it definitely gets crazy. I do get a few texts and people are like, I need 4 tickets. I need 8 tickets. So I try to keep it to like 2 and max out. All I can do for you is 2 tickets, leave me alone.
That's it too.
Yeah. And everybody think we get them for free.
Everybody
think we get all of them for free.
I got to pay for these tickets. Man. This shit ain't free.
Exactly.
For real.
Sean, man, I want to ask you this, man. On Sunday, it was 2 plays. First of all, we just talked about you yesterday. Man, you are fast as hell. And this is your 14th year. In your 14th year?
Yes, sir.
Man, let me tell you something.
Yeah. We talked about it, ED. It's people that are fast, and then there are people that can take the top off the cover.
Wow, then that woo-wee.
Yeah.
You still got that woo-wee fast. Yeah. It was 2 plays that you got. Did he underthrow you, or did they hit his arm? It hit Stafford's arm because you came over. So I'm like, God dang, he got over fast. Did he underthrow you, or did they hit his arm, or what?
Yeah, the first one, I just think he misjudged the throw. He didn't really, I tell McVay, McVay tried to get me during the week to hit them high speeds, and I say, I'm gonna give you what I got, but the game, the adrenaline pumping a little bit different in the games. And I'm sure you can co-sign it that the game's a little different, man. It's just I don't got that same juice in practice, even though I try to give it my best. But I tell McVay all the time, like, man, the games is gonna be a little different. So I think the first one he just kind of misjudged the throw, and then the second one his arm got hit by a defensive tackle and he couldn't really step into it. So but the thing to me, man, is like people tend to forget, man. It's like, the past 2 years I didn't, had a few injuries and, haven't been out on the field as much. So I think, a lot of people kind of just sleep on me still, man. It's like, where I've been through in my career and what I've accomplished and what I've done, people say, oh, he's injury prone or he's not fast, he lost his step, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, man, it's just the opportunity presents itself. And every time an opportunity presents itself to me, I'm gonna make the most out of my opportunity. So for me, man, I love that underdog mentality. I love for people to sleep on me. I love for people not to be talking about me because I know what I'm capable of doing. I know the hard work I put into it. I know the hard work, the dedication. And for me, I love to always prove people wrong, man. So, like, I hear the noise. I ain't focused on it, but I hear it. And guess what? I'm going to prove everybody wrong because, like I said, year 14, still running by dudes. When I'm stepping on the field, these dudes was 24 years old. These dudes was in elementary and middle school when I first started playing. So they be like, oh my God, I'm a fan of you. But I'm like, at the moment, I'm like, cool, but I'm still finna get in your ass.
Yeah. Hey, you keep playing, you're gonna be like, I played old enough to play with some of the cats I played with kids that ended up coming into the league. I'm like, damn, I'm old as hell. I'm playing against your kid. I remember when you was running around. So talk about that, McVay, and you playing, especially in this game against Tampa Bay, because you didn't play a whole lot of snaps in the first 2 games.
Yeah. And
it was almost like, okay, Tampa, we got something different. We got something new you ain't seen yet. Yeah. And they unleashed you out there. And it looked like, to Eric's point, they were running in quicksand and forgot how fast you really are and how dominant you can be in a game.
Yeah, I mean, to speak on the first 2 games, the first game, obviously, we played Chicago Bears Sunday night. For me, first game back at home, I ended up catching like 2 catches for like 23 yards. Not really. No, for me in that game, it kind of got out of hand. We hurried up offense. Cooper Kupp got deep one time. Van Jefferson got deep one time. So, and talking to McVay, he just like it really wasn't no need for it. So he's like, I got this dynamite right here. Like I don't even got to use it because these other dudes that I got are just running by. So he's like that week that he just really didn't feel the need for it, and I was kind of understanding that. I wasn't really worried about that. But then the second week came and we played in Indianapolis, and it was kind of a tough game. And that week, I remember he had like a set number of plays for me, and he kind of never really got to him. And, I can remember sitting back in that game and I was just on the sideline kind of like, just urging to get in there because I know, once again, I know what I'm capable of doing and I know how I can help this team win. So for me, that was kind of a little frustrating moment to sit back and kind of just not really be able to get the opportunities in that game, but we ended up still winning. So that next week, I just kind of went in his office and just had a talk with him, a man talk face to face. Once again, me and McVay have a great relationship. So when I went in there, I just was like, I'm kind of confused about my role. Like you brought me here for a reason. Like, let me be what you brought me here to be. And, he basically told me like, he's been trying to figure out a role. And, sometimes it gets tough because, the way he calls plays, it's attacking the defense. And sometimes he might not think about a D-Jack player, certain things, because it's just like what the defense is giving me, I got to basically call my offense off of that. So I respected and understood, and we both left that meeting. He basically said, like, I got to do a better job of finding ways to get you involved. And, basically me, I just kind of told him, I got to do a better job of just staying patient and when my number's called to be ready. And there you go, man. Last week, Sunday, man, he unleashed me, man. So like I say it's still a new situation, just trying to figure out how to gel with these guys. I think Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, they've been playing in this offense for a long time and they've been already having their rhythm, so to implement a new guy like myself that's older, that's not really getting as many reps, and it's a lot that goes into it. So like I said, at the end of the day, man, I'm gonna stay patient when my number's called and be ready.
How's it been playing with Matt Stafford? I noticed, like I said, it's only the third week, with the training camp, but and like I said, you only played a little bit the first game and really hardly none in Indianapolis, but in this game here, I mean, to me, it seemed like you were a big focal point. How has it been playing with Matt Stafford? Because for me, I always thought Matt was a great quarterback. He was just in a bad situation. And I think, but you still playing, and I'm sure you say the same thing I say when you play. I've been on some bad teams. Like, man, you look on the other side and see, damn, why come I couldn't have an offensive line like that? Or you say, man, why come I couldn't have a quarterback like that or a play caller like that?
Yeah, man, he's special, man. The first thing I can say about him, man, he really slept on me, and the reason why I say is because I always known him to be a good quarterback. They say when he was in Detroit, he had Calvin Johnson, a lot of success there. Had Marvin Jones, a few other receivers that he's done well with, but you never was really able to see his full potential in Detroit.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because, he's never really made it. I can't say he's never made it to the playoffs, but I mean, whatever that run is, they never really got deep in, and it wasn't like they was a playoff contender every year. So fast forward to now, having him and being able to work out with them, train with them in the off-season training camp, and in these first few weeks, man, that dude's special, man. The reason why I say that, he be having defenders look crazy, bro. Like, he know where he gonna throw the ball, but he's not looking at you to the last minute. Right. The way he moves these defenders, like he know he ain't gonna throw there, but he gonna look there, adjust the defense to go there. And you got defenders, safeties moving a certain way, and he going backside like his no look, bro. He throws the ball no look sometimes. Like, he'll be looking at me in the left and throw it to the right. Like, the dude's special, man. I really think, him being here with McVay, that's gonna be a dangerous duel right there, bro.
Yeah, he like you said, he's been able to expand his whole game since he got here with the Rams with McVay. And to your point, we Eric and I have talked about Jared Goff, where everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be right for him to have success. Yeah. And like you were saying with Matt Stafford, those little things like looking off. He know he's going over here, but he's not looking there until the last minute where you don't even to the point of last night where Jalen Hurts got picked off a couple times. He's staring down the receiver, and you know that as a receiver. Don't do that to me, man. Don't do that to me.
Nah, you can't do that in the NFL, man. Like I say, the big thing about these defenders, man, these defenders are smart. They know how to read body language. They know how to read eyes. They know how to read. They watching film. You get what I'm saying? So they know the tendencies of a quarterback. So when he moves defenders, they really think it's real. Like they really think he going to where he going to, man. It's just like he out there toying with the defense.
Yeah. Has this been one of, I mean, you played on a couple of teams, just like I did, and I played on some good teams and some bad teams. So far, has this been one of, when you look at the roster, let's say the roster, is this one of the best teams you could say you've ever played on, or you played on one better before, you think?
I mean, I was just talking to one of my friends about that a few days ago. Man, I think this honestly, man, like you said, I done played on some good teams. You know, I done played with Vic. I done played in Philly when the 2010 season was supposed to be the dream team. We had all these additions. Nasiama with Sante Samuels. You know, on and on. We had great teams in Philly, but it's something about this team, man. It stands out. You know, you got two defensive players that are at the top of their position with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. When I tell you shut down or dominant that no one can stop them, I mean, like, to have 2 and 1 on one team on a defense that a team got a counter on, like, and then everybody else simultaneously plays good. Like, they ain't even got to be stars, but they're playing all together. Like, this team is like, I mean, it's crazy the way I see our defense play together. It's crazy the way I see our offensive line play together. And besides Andrew Whitworth, who would you say is on our offensive line? And not to say they're nobodies, but as far as a big name people, you kind of wouldn't. I don't do any of you guys.
I came in one of them, right?
The way they play together, man, like throughout the course of a game, you know, Stafford is sitting back in the pocket, bro.
Yeah,
like he has
no
time.
pressure.
He's distributing the ball. So, man, I honestly think, man, it's got to be like the top 1 or 2 teams I've been on in my career, man, and it's special.
Yeah, to ED's point, I felt the same thing when I played in Detroit. I was like, man, I wish I had that line over on the other side. Give me that protection. Looking at Troy Aikman and drinking a cup of coffee before he threw the ball.
Right.
It was special. Edie touched on it, but I want to go back, man, because you were drafted to Philly and you played there with Andy Reid as a coach, right, first, and then Chip Kelly. What was the Philly experience like? Because I was there too, so I was there for 4 years, but that town is crazy. But playing in Philly and under those two coaches, what was that like for you?
I think early on in my career, coming in as a rookie, coming in 2008, I came in. We had Brian Dawkins, Brian Westbrook, Donovan McNabb, Sheldon Brown, Lito Shepherd. Like, you know, I came in at a time where we had a lot of veteran players that was very successful, and, you know, some big time players in the NFL that had a lot of success. Excuse me. Sorry. This dude got his phone. Sorry about that. But yeah, when I came in, man, I came in under a lot of, you know, veteran leaders, man, and they kind of just gave me the mentality. They gave me the what to expect for. They told me right from wrong as a young guy, you know. So, I mean, a lot of these dudes nowadays, they come into the NFL and they just think they're the world. You get what I'm saying? And not really have to, you know, take heed to an older veteran guy, because, you know, nowadays you got all these sports announcers and broadcasters pumping these dudes up like they all world, they this, but you still got to come to the league and earn your respect. And, you know, for me coming into the league, I had to earn my respect, and I earned it. You get what I'm saying? I started as a rookie. I came in and had almost 1,000 yards, you know, like Pro Bowls at the Pro Bowl. So, you know, for me, it's like early on in Philly, like I loved it, man, because the success I had, the city was behind me. They loved me. Fast forward to when Chip Kelly came, played 1 year with him, had my career high, you know, stats, yards, catches, touchdowns. And it was like the year after that, I'm being accused of being this big time gang member that's out here that you would thought I was a villain to the society and all this other stuff. And it's just like, I kind of felt they kind of just accused me for something from being from where I came from, like being a kid that came from
the organization did,
I wouldn't even.
or just the Philly.
It was more Chip Kelly. It was. I feel like it was more Chip Kelly because he was the general manager when he was there. He was right. Howie Roseman didn't really have control like that. It was Chip Kelly's team. Like when he came in, when I tell you, me, Michael Vick, LaShawn McCoy, Jeremy Mackin, like we all didn't have a starting job. He said, "There's nobody starting." You telling this to Pro Bowlers? First round.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He came in that way.
He came in like nobody had starting jobs. Like we all had to earn. He had like a college mentality. So it was I liked his scheme and his offense, but I didn't like how he went around being a professional and like he made us feel like we was back in college. And it's like, bro, I didn't already went through that phase. Like I'm getting paid more than you. Like at the end of the day, you trying to tell me this and that. It's like I wasn't trying to think like that, but at the end of the day, this is how you making me feel. So fast forward, I left. And like I said, they accused me of all types of crazy stuff. Remind you, I never was a felon. I never went to jail, never had a record. I was clean as a spigot. So fast forward at leaving and going to Washington and playing in Washington for 3 years, I'm like, every time I played the Eagles, I'm going to kill them. Yeah. I'm gonna make them feel every time I get a chance to go against them, I'm going to make them feel it for them cutting me like that. So, I had a lot of fun, but I really had the most fun the Andy Reid era when them guys I named was there and they kind of like helped me raise me and kind of teach me how they're supposed to be a pro.
And since you said that, talking about being a professional, can you? Because I can still think about when I was 20 to my 21 years old, coming to the league and the things I used to do. And do you find yourself now thinking, man, I'm way different from that guy I used to be, even though you're still the same person, but you learn more, you want to be more of a professional, than you were because, you're 21, 22 years old, man. You know how we are. We young, the girls, the partying. Hey, we did it back in the 80s. It ain't changed. It's just a different year. It's all it is. Right. So do you find, you ever look back and think, man, wow, I wasted time doing that, or I'm glad I did that, or I'm glad I didn't do that?
Yeah, I think you got to always get it out your system. As long as you can get it out your system and you can catch it before it's too late. I tell people all the time, I tell these rookies, I tell all these young dudes I talk to, man, I ran through millions, partying, private jets, clubbing, girls, jewelry, cars. Like I did all that. But what I can say is I'm glad I caught it before it was too late because you have people that don't catch it. You got people where they catch it too late, where they still not getting that income.
Yeah.
So for me, I just look at it as get it out your system. You got one life to live, man. Live it up, but just do it to extent. Do it to a moderate limit, and don't let it affect your job. If it's affecting your livelihood, and when you go to work, and if you going to work and you smell like alcohol and you can't practice, you cramping up, you pulling muscles. Coaches and trainers, they're gonna see that. You get what I'm saying? I tell these young dudes all the time, if you able to upkeep it and whatever you want to do outside of work, and you could still come to work and participate, stay healthy, and play at a high level, then do what you gotta do. But eventually, it's going to hit you in your behind because the older you get,
gonna catch it.
The older you get, I can't recover like I used to when I was 24. I come in the morning the next day and I'm hurting a little more. So I like, just do it to a level where you could, be moderate.
Hey, D, Eric and I got to recover for 3 days after just playing golf.
You feel me?
Right.
Backs, joints, all types.
All of it, man.
Definitely.
So I want to go back though, because I can't keep going without asking you this question because you see what's behind me, man. You come out of Long Beach Poly, and Poly's got a history of folks going to USC.
Right.
Why go to Cal instead of USC? Did USC not recruit you? Because you came out, I know everybody was recruiting you, but did SC not really go after you? Why Cal instead of staying at home?
So I'm gonna give it to you raw, uncut, straight facts.
Yes.
I kind of felt disrespected by SC, man. And the reason why I say that, like you said, I had all the big time colleges, the SCs, the Florida States, the Miamis, the LSU, the Oklahomas, so on and so on. Like I had offers from every top school. SC, they knew the relationship between Long Beach Poly and SC.
Right.
Long Beach Poly funnels all the talent to SC. It was a kid by the name of Patrick Turner that came out the same year I came out. He was a wide receiver. He was from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I was number one in high school. He was number one in high school. They felt they had to promise him that number one to get him to come all the way from Tennessee to get him to play here. And they didn't look at me as like, oh, D Jaguar number 1, 2, and he want that number. Impossible that we got him and we know we got him. And this dude, we got to promise him a number to get him here. I know it sounds crazy, but for me, it's just like I kind of just felt disrespected.
No,
it don't sound crazy at all.
Because at the end of the day, I wanted that number one. That number one feel different. You know, it give you a little more attention. I don't know if y'all grew up Pop Warner or high school wearing the number one, but number one.
I did. I had Warren Moon. We had Warren Moon on not too long ago, and I wore one all through Pop Warner. And so I was like, I'm wearing number one. I'm going with number one. Yeah.
It's something about that number one, man. So for me, like I said, I just feel like they just got cocky with me, man, and they just start really like giving out of towners and dudes like, you know, Patrick Turner more respect than me and showing them more love. So this was at the same time when you got to remember, I'm going to take you back a little bit. So this is when Aaron Rodgers, Marshawn Lynch, I think a year or two before I committed, they actually beat SC.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, all right, do I want to go join the best or do I want to beat the best? And in my mind, I said, you know what, Cal, they turned the program around. They got Jeff Teffer, they got Aaron Rodgers, Marshawn. I was like, that's intriguing. Like, it was something about Cal that just stuck out to me. I could come in right away, start as a freshman. I ain't got to wait behind Mike Williams or Kerry Colbert or whoever else. Not to say I would have waited because I would have came in and still started. You know, that's just my swag. But, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm going to go to Cal and I just want to beat the best, bro. And it didn't work out quite that way. But every time I played SC, they had about 3 or 4 dudes on me. So they was like, we're not going to let that little dude beat us.
It's funny you say that, man, because I think about how I ended up going to SMU. I really wanted to go to Oklahoma, but my mother wouldn't let me. And A&M recruited the hell out of me hard in Texas. But I didn't like A&M's uniforms. And it just this little stuff like that. People don't understand. When you're young, you think different. I mean, it's funny now, but I'm like, I just can't wear that Aggie uniform. And they got yell leaders. They don't have cheerleaders. I can't go there.
Little thing, yeah.
That's little stuff. I mean, but like you said, that number one. That's big.
Yeah.
I told you that. I was like, I came to SC. And first of all, I played baseball, so I had eliminated a lot of other schools that didn't want me to play baseball. But there were a lot of schools that didn't want me to play quarterback either, coming out of high school. So it was, you know, it was during that time. And I went to Stanford. I think I told you this, ED. I went to Stanford, and it was 3 of the players at Stanford. It was Mike Tolliver was a receiver there, and Toy Cook was the defensive back, somebody else. And they pulled me aside because they put the full court press up there. Had Elway took me around and showed me around campus and did all that. And they pulled me aside and said, Stanford ain't never had a black quarterback, and they never will.
They never will.
They never will. So you don't come up here. Don't come up. And this guy's on the team.
Hey, Stanford and UCLA, the only 2 Pac-10 at the time they was Pac-10. Them the only 2 schools that didn't offer me, but they knew they wasn't gonna have a chance anyway. They're like, we're not gonna waste an offer on this dude. He ain't even coming.
DeSean, when you think about playing, who do you think is your, like I said, a guy that, like, man, me and him, we battle at it. We go at it. I mean, it's one defensive back in particular, like, man, me and him, we go at it. I can think of guys like, for me, when we played the Bears, Otis, you remember Otis Wilson? Rodney?
Oh, yeah.
Man, let me tell you something. Man, me and him would go after it. I remember I played, I'm like, you black mother. He like, you bitch. I mean, we be going at it. And I just saw Otis 2 years ago. And man, I said, Otis, man, I said, I hated you, Eric. I hated you too.
Man, people don't realize some of the stuff that's being said on the
field. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it get real. Man, honestly, and this just my honest opinion about this. So people ask me that question out there, like, who the best corner you went up against? And for me, man, like, it's kind of hard to kind of give somebody that crown. And not to say I don't think nobody's good, but a lot of times when I was playing people, they always had safety help. It was rare, especially early in my career, it was rare that I really had a corner that would just play me man to man the whole game without a safety help. just because of my vertical threat and my deep speed and, whatever it was that I was doing. But I would give credit. I give credit to Champ Bailey. So I was a rookie and I got a chance to play Champ Bailey when he was in Denver. Champ Bailey gave me a hard time. Champ Bailey was a long corner, and he got me at the line of scrimmage one time, and he was like, "Young fella, you got to do something more to me to just try to use that speed and run up." I say, you know what? He don't want to taught me to double move now, because I was like, I just can't just go run because I'm fast now. So, I would say like a Champ Bailey. Me and Del Rivas had a few battles. Talib was a pretty good battle, and my last one would probably be like Richard Sherman. Them dudes, we used to always battle pretty tough. Them dudes right there. But
yeah.
As far as anything else, man, like I said, I used to be like, man, tell your defensive coordinator just leave you on the island all game. It's just me and you one-on-one, because I'm gonna burn you all day.
They wasn't doing it. They wasn't doing that. Since they're not doing that, on the flip side of that, I know they didn't play you one-on-one like you just said. But on the flip side of that, who was that team or that secondary? You were like, man, because ED and I talk about it all the time. Man, I'm about to eat today. I'm about to have about 300 today. Was there teams that you played against, you went up against, you like, oh man, this is gonna be a feeding day?
So I want to give credit to two teams. So one team that I think did a good job of playing versus me was the Ravens. That was when Ed Reed and Ray Lewis was back there, and they had McAllister.
Right.
I remember one time Mike Vick dropped back and threw the ball deep. And that boy, when I tell you Ed Reed was in the middle of the field and I was all the way over here, Mike Vick threw the most perfect ball. I looked up, caught it. I'm looking just like this at the corner of my eyes. Ed Reed coming in and smacked me on the sideline. Boy, I said, boy, you something. I was on the sideline tossing and turning. I'm like, damn, he smacked me. But I credit the Ravens old school defense. They did a good job. And, I was probably one of the toughest defenses I battled. But on the flip side of your story, it was something about them Cowboys, man. Every time we played the Cowboys, I used to be licking my chops. A lot of respect to Terrence Newman. He's an OG of mine, but I kind of caught him later in his career. And I used to Brandon Carr, I used to run through the Cowboys, because you got to think, being in the Eagles, we was a rival. Oh, yeah. So every time I got to play the Dallas Cowboys, I used to be licking my chops, boy.
I can relate to that. I feel the same way. I just love to play the Cowboys.
For sure. Jerry's World. Oh yeah, we going on TV, national television. Everybody love the Cowboys.
Yeah, we went Jerry. We played at old ass stadium.
Oh yeah, but that was that.
Texas,
they had that
Texas stadium. We had a hole in the roof. A hole in the roof.
Oh, with that crown on the field.
Yeah, the crown on the field. Right.
How was it for y'all, man? Because I ain't really get a chance. I mean, when I was in high school, I played in Hawaii on that turf, but how was it for y'all playing on that turf, man? Because that turf was like concrete, really, man.
Oh my gosh! Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Some of the worst turf was in Philadelphia. I'm probably I don't know when you got this. That was one of the worst turf fields in the National Football League. There, the Astrodome and New England Patriots. They were the worst fields. And Chicago had a hard in Chicago also. But and turf back then was turf and a little bit of pad up under. So it was little pad like that, and it was cement. Concrete. It wasn't even that, but like that. It was cement.
Yeah. Concrete.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was concrete.
Oh, do y'all have like a lot of injuries still from that? Y'all think a lot of stuff caused like knees and stuff from that, joints?
100%. I think it's just the wear and tear on that type of surface.
Yeah,
get it to
like
you.
running on concrete.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. I mean, and from back, neck. I mean, so many people used to get before you got there. And right as I was in Philly, I left right when they built the link. So I played in that vet for my 4 years in Philly. And, they played baseball. The Phillies played there too. Man. So the way they would do the field is that they would just put big patches of turf over the dirt. And it would be uneven.
It was holes and stuff. They had I think was that Belichick that was like, we not playing. Or that was the Ravens. I think they was like, we not playing on this turf.
Yeah. A couple teams they canceled one in Philly. They canceled one at the old Astrodome when the turf rolled up one game too.
Yeah, I got my foot caught on the turf in the Astrodome. But I'm gonna tell you, playing in Philly, wasn't just playing in Philly. That turf was hard. But I'm gonna tell you something, boy. That defense, they would hit your ass, man.
Was it Reggie White and them?
Oh, they would hit your ass, man. I'm talking about they would hit your ass, boy.
Brian Dawkins ever caught you before?
I didn't play against Brian. He was young. He's way younger than me.
Way younger.
Yeah. Way younger than me. But I'm gonna tell you, brother, that defense and Philly was dirty. See, they were dirty too because they had Buddy Ryan. They were dirty as hell.
Oh yeah, Buddy Ryan.
Buddy.
Vincent didn't play versus you either, huh?
What's that?
He's younger than me.
Who? Ricky Waters was playing when you was playing?
No, he's younger than me too. Yeah. You said I'm old. She see
who you played? No, man, you the reason why I wear the Dickerson still to this day.
The face mask.
Hey man, come on, they named that after you, bro.
That face mask. Man, I wore that face. Matter of fact, here this shit here, right? College.
There it is.
You're the reason why I wear that, man. Trust me, man. I've been watching you forever, bro.
I started wearing it in college. Like the guys I played against like LT. Daryl Green, all us guys, we all 60 years old. You know, we're in our 60s. But like,
who was on the Eagles when you played against them?
We played Reggie White was there.
Jerome Brown.
Man, that boy could play.
Yeah. Seth Joyner was the back.
I still call Dirty Seth Joyner. That dirty as hell.
Remember, God rest his soul, Andre Waters.
I just say Andre Dirty Waters.
Dirty Waters, boy.
He died, but yeah, Andre Waters. And Wes Hopkins, we went to school together, went to SMU together. He was dirty in college, and he played on mine. And he was even dirtier in the pros. He played for the Eagles.
Where you from, ED?
I'm from Texas.
You from Texas?
SMU? Yeah, from Texas.
D-Jack, I want to ask you about that because we talking about when we played and how the game was different and what they could do and all the rules and stuff that they get away with. Now, as a receiver, because when we played, it was a thing about going across the middle, right? It was like you can't, as a quarterback, don't throw it high, don't put them in a bad situation because they're gonna get lit up. When you started in 2008 until where it's now, how has it been different in terms of just the contact that's not allowed on the defensive side?
It's night and day, bro. I tell these young dudes all the time. When my first 3 year, I think, because we had the new CBA, I want to say 2010 or 2011 is when they implemented the new CBA. But my first 3 years, bro, when I tell you all that stuff that's flying now,
yeah,
bro, I honestly tell these dudes all the time, I could probably play 20 years with this new CBA and the way they change these rules. And, you know, we don't practice as hard as we used to practice. When I first came to the league, we had training camp was 2 days. And it was a padded practice in the morning, shells in the afternoon. But nowadays it's padded and you got to walk through. So I'm like, you know, it's a big difference. So I'm like, man, y'all, they got it right now where people could play 20, 15, 10, 20 years if they really wanted to, if they took care of their body and they did what they need to do. So I think the game's changed a lot. And some of the stuff I do like it because, you know, it's the protection of the game and the players. But then it's like some stuff is doing too much too. It's like you might as well be out here playing tag football.
Right.
I think they protect the quarterback way too much. I mean, you got to protect him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, golly, you can't touch. If you touch him up here with your hand, you know, about it.
You can't tackle him. You can't tackle him because if you fall on top of the quarterback, that's a penalty.
Yeah. If they feel like you're driving your weight into him, it's like you got to tackle him and then kind of roll off of him, which I think, man, they still the running back ain't got no help. So, you know, they still killing us.
ED, you got anything else?
Man, well, this is what I wanted to ask you. Sean, did you run track? I've been wanting to ask you that forever. Did you run track at all?
Yeah, I ran track my earlier years and you know, growing up basically from maybe like 7 years old to probably like 15, 16. So when I got to high school, my pops was like so into me, like playing baseball. I grew up playing baseball too. I played baseball, basketball, football, ran track. And it was like, when I got to high school, it was hard to run track and play baseball because, you know, it's around the same time. So my pops was like, you know, I'm taking you all across the world. I'm putting you in this sport, putting you in that. Nigga, you gonna play baseball for me. So it conflicted with running track. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna play baseball. But I ended up, you know, getting drafted in baseball and coming out of high school my senior year. But they wanted me to give up football. And I was like, I ain't really had a love for baseball like that. So I ended up, you know, just being dedicated and staying with the football thing, man. I think everything turned out for a reason. But whoever watching this back home, kids, parents, put your kids in baseball because that guaranteed money. If I could do it all over again, I probably would have got some of that guaranteed money in baseball.
Yeah, that long money.
Guaranteed money. This ain't got to do with football. This nothing for. I want to talk about these cars. Tell me some of the vintage cars you have, because my boy Gene McClendon was telling me about your cars. So tell me how you got into them. How'd you get into it?
Man, so just growing up, man, in LA, man, like I can remember when I was younger, I used to be on Crenshaw, and I was probably like past my bedtime back in the day because Crenshaw used to be the spot for everything. If you get an old school car, you got hydraulics, you got an Impala, you going up and down Crenshaw and everybody. I was just a spot, man. So I got in the cars just by looking at them when I was younger. And, I got a 63 Impala, like I was telling you. I bought it when I was in Philly. It's a green, the Eagle green, peanut butter inside. I actually just cut it, so I'm putting some hydraulics on it. I got a 69 Camaro. Man, it's been in the shop for about 5 years, man. I'm doing a lot to it. So hopefully pretty soon it can be done. It's almost done. Got an 87 El Camino. 87 is the last year they made the Elcos too. So that was a special one for me. I love the Elcos growing up. And I got a 2000, I want to say it's a 2001 old Corvette. It's the Harley Davidson version of it. And man, it's kind of how I got into it, man. I'm kind of like an old soul when it comes to cars because I love old school cars. Just something about when you hop in that old school car and you got them old white folks and everybody looking at you like, how that young black dude know anything about an old school car? So, it feels good because everybody like, what year is that? Can I buy that from you? I'm like, nah, this ain't for sale, baby.
you got it with the hydraulics? Anything jump off the ground?
Yeah, I got in there with it.
Now, are you hands on with it with the cars, or you got?
I got somebody. Yeah, I got somebody to do all my work for me. But I'm pretty hands on. In my '69, I got an LS3 in there, so it got about 1,000 to the wheel. So, I'm kind of hands on. But then I got people to kind of do it for me too, because at the end of the day, like I feel like a car, man, can be a dangerous thing if you're not getting the right work done to it. And this your life is in jeopardy if you out there driving a car that ain't been done the right way. So for me, I'm very in tune to my cars and what's being put in my cars and just the ins and outs of them, because I definitely want to know.
Yeah. So I saw Jalen Ramsey. I don't know, was it? I don't know. He came to the game. I don't know if you saw his outfit. His mariachi outfit. Mariachi, what's it called? Mariachi.
Mariachi, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mariachi outfit on. Well, what kind of? I saw the car. He got the ram colored car. I mean, I'm like, man, he all the way in.
Hey, man, that dude, man, I ain't gonna lie. When I seen it, I was like, boy, you fly. You pulled that one off.
Oh,
yeah. And the reason why I say that, because you gotta think that's like Hispanics, Mexicans, they wear that, when they do like Cinco de Mayo. I'm looking at the date, I'm like, damn, is it May 5th? It ain't even May 5th. I'm like, why this dude got this number? I tell you, he hopped out the car. He had the car wrapped.
The car wrapped and everything.
Oh, that boy was fly. Boy, I had him on my Instagram. I'm filming. I'm like, boy, you pulled that off. I said, boy, that's cold, boy. So, man, it was fit tight. It looked good, man. He did his thing, man. I was shocked that he pulled that one off. That was a good look. He might win outfit of the year with that one. That was cool.
That was good. That was good. And it was, you could tell he was thinking about it because, like you said, the Latino community in LA, man, Hispanic community
they love
in LA.
They love him. They already loved him. They love him even more now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they do.
But y'all mind if we talk about my podcast a little bit?
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you next. Yeah, Fade the Booth.
Yeah, so Fade the Booth, y'all can see, I entered y'all world, man, in y'all field, man. I was sitting back like last year, man. I had suffered an injury, I broke my ankle, and I couldn't really do too much. So I'm like, you know what? Let me sit back and, kind of figure out what's something I could get into when I'm retired. Because I obviously, 34 years old. I'm like, man, I ain't gonna be able to play football forever. Injuries coming to a point where I'm sure you guys had injuries and it's like the world almost ended. You like, damn, I done suffered another injury. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen with my career. Like, I can't keep. It was all type of stuff going through my head. So I'm sitting back. I'm like, man, my brother always had a camera around me. He always been filming. I'm like, I need to get into something where I could do where it's just natural, So I was sitting back and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start a podcast, start my own podcast. And I was actually gonna do it with Talib when I first started thinking about doing it, and it actually didn't work out. So I'm like, I'm gonna just start bringing people on that I know and kind of give them an insight to my world, and give my viewers a different perspective of the game, because, for me, I feel like we go through so much being professional athletes that the outside world don't really know. And it's like, for me, just being able to have up and coming people, stars, celebrities. You don't even got to be an athlete. You could be a actress, model. You could be anything. It's just like, it's something intriguing about me that I want to let other people hear how everybody had to go through adversity in life. Because I feel like nowadays society feels like the odds are against them, or once one bad thing happens, like I just need to quit and give up. So I bring these people on, had Lil Wayne, Michael Vick, Marshawn Lynch, Michael Rubin, who's a billionaire and who's a team owner for the 76ers, and just kind of really just have authentic conversations, man, and just kind of let people know that, it's not always perfect. You got to go through a lot of reality to really understand that, or not reality, adversity, to be able to be where we at, from being a professional. So it's just like really opening up and giving the viewers, something different to really view, man. And that's kind of how I got into it. And we dropped 3 episodes. They've been going pretty good. And I just having fun with it, man. So if y'all can check out Fade the Booth, it's on YouTube. Subscribe it, just show the love, man.
Absolutely.
I'm doing some big things with it.
Absolutely. What's great about it is, and you know this, DeSean, because you've been in the podium, and ED and I have, and we didn't have social media. We didn't have anything like this when we were playing.
Right.
Thank God we ain't had no social media when we were playing.
It was good and bad.
It's good and bad. Thank God we ain't had
bad. Trust me, I know the bad.
Thank God we ain't had no cameras on them phones either. But it also, because back then, all the fans heard was what you said in an interview or on the podium, or, somebody got a glimpse of you. Now you can really talk in your own voice and let people understand what you're all about, other than just the X's and O's. So you can have your own voice. So they can say whatever they want to say about you out there. But when they tune in to Fade the Booth or listen to you talk, it's you. It's the authentic you, not what somebody else is putting out there about you.
Yeah, and I think it almost gives you a fair slate to kind of create your own narrative. Kind of going piggybacking off what you said. It's a lot of perceptions, and sometimes perception is reality. But then again, if you never hear from my voice, I done been through a lot of things. I done posted things. I done comment on certain things. It's like I get scrutinized for it. But to hear my intentions behind it, you'll have a whole different opinion after you hear my intentions behind something. You get what I'm saying? And really have an opportunity to speak on it, because the media, they're gonna write what they want to write. They got to pay their bills and they got to get paid. And it's clickbait. And that's why with my podcast, I don't know clickbait or getting somebody to say something so I can go get headline and news. Like, no, I really want real conversations, and I'm not putting nobody on the spot. Like, it's comfortable. If it's stuff you don't want to talk about, I'm not going to talk about, because I'm not here to put anybody down or shed light on some bull crap stories. Like, I'm all about uplifting and showing love and peace to people. You get what I'm saying? It's enough crazy things that's going on out in the world. You got mental health issues. You got people committing suicide. Like, it's a real thing that's going on, man. You can have the most money in the world, but going home and be miserable as I don't know what. Money can't buy happiness, man. So, that's my thing. I'm just trying to shed light on, the real things that are happening in our world and how we can stick together as a community and as brotherhood and sisterhood, how we can uplift each other.
Man, that's great, because, we talked about it, like Rodney said, back in our era, we didn't have this, when in my era, I was a bad guy. You too young. I was a really bad guy, because why? Because I wanted to get paid, and paid for me was, I just wanted to be paid like the quarterbacks. I was making, think about this here. I was the second pick in the draft behind John Elway. Elway makes $1 million. I'm making $150,000. Now, how is that right? I said, just pay me similar to him. Just pay me right. And
you performing.
Oh, I was getting down. Shit, 18 my first year, 22,000 my next year. I'm player of the year, rookie of the year. And still, but back then, when they wrote something, it was believed. We had no voice. So it's great, man. DeSean, that you're doing this, because I just feel like a lot of times people have, like you said, sometimes perception is bigger than reality, and sometimes people perceive something that's really not like that. Like you said, they get a chance to hear from you. Like if you type something out, you text something, sometimes the text is misunderstood.
Right.
You talk to them. Oh man, I didn't know you meant it like that. You know, now I got a different perspective on it. So I think it's great you do that because, you know, a lot of us, especially the black athlete, you know, we talked to Warren Moon, you know, last week, you know, and I asked him about, you know, playing quarterback, you know, and that position, because back then we had a chance to get Warren Moon. I played with the Rams and I heard about it, but we took another white quarterback from Canada that was about 5'7". And man, I'm taking it. All I needed was a quarterback against that Bears defense. I say that if I'd have had a quarterback, that's all I needed. If we'd have had Warren, it'd been a different time. But you know,
need a little help. That's all you need.
Sometimes you just need a little bit of help, you know, and that's it. But I think it's great you're doing that because, like I say, for us, you know, it's different for us. We live in a different. We live in the same world, but we live in a different world. I mean, let's just be honest about it. You know, it's different. It's gonna always be different for us. For being a black man, a woman. You know, when you walk into a room, you know, you can walk in, you black automatically. You can walk in and be Persian. They don't look at you, you know, he's not black. They don't look at you the same. You know, you can walk in and be anything else. You can walk in and be a killer, but nobody know you're a killer. You know, if you're white, you know, they don't know. They just say, oh, that's a white guy. He's a white guy. Right. So for us, it's always different. But I think it's fantastic you're doing that. And if you ever want to have me or Rodney on, man, I'd love to come on your show and talk about myself. I got a book coming out, you know, at the end of this year. So I come on and promote my book, talk about the book, talk about, you know, my struggles. Because I'm gonna tell you something, brother. For me as a former football player, it was not always fun. People think it was. I can talk about the hate mail that I got. You nigga, you know, you niggas are just perform for us, you know, all that kind of stuff. And see, I won't forget, I asked Jim Brown this. I said, Jim, man, how hard was it playing back in that, you know, because I got one of the old helmets, these old helmets you got. He said, man, that was easy. He said, you know what the hard part was after the games. He said, you played on the field, that let your frustration out. He said the hard part was after the game. You know, you couldn't go to the restaurants and how they would treat you after. And you know what, when you think about Jim Brown, you don't think about that. Like for me, people forget, and you probably don't think of it, Rodney, you probably don't think, I was in segregation. Like I went to the black school for a while. Then I went to the white school. So, you know, it's a different, all of us brought up in different times. And, you know, brothers like you, man, you don't realize how much you help, and you help a lot. So I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on our show. Appreciate that. And hey, man, I'm excited to have you. I'm just going to tell you, because when I saw you ran by him, I'm like, God dang, that brother fast. So, man, hey, good luck, my brother.
I appreciate it. And I definitely I would love for y'all to come on the show, man. You know, I'm all about supporting each other, man, and just kind of uplifting, man. So I appreciate that. And this was a good you know, segment we had. I feel like, you know, y'all two brothers are, you know, people that I looked up to growing up to, especially being black and, you know, in the community and the culture, man. So, you know, I'm doing my part. You know, these young dudes nowadays are a little tough to work with, but
yeah, man.
So I'm gonna keep putting my foot on.
Stay on them. Stay on them.
I'm gonna stay on it, man. But I appreciate y'all brothers, man.
Got it.
Okay, man.
All right, D. Appreciate it, brother.
Take care, bro.